Liberty Fighters Network.
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 Good day, liberators and fellow South Africans. I've just revealed the secret that we've been holding back on for approximately a year now in my first video, and this is also going to be exciting news, but we did say a lot about this specific case, but for some reason the media was never interested in this matter at all, probably because of the fact that it would have shown the importance of Liberty Fighters Network in our news currently, and they didn't want to give us any attention, or that people must know about this. But Liberty Fighters Network is directly in the middle of the so-called Phala Phala report. For the very reason, and let me show you this, that in the report of report of the Section 89 independent panel appointed to conduct a preliminary inquiry on the motion proposing a Section 89 inquiry, dated 30 November, so it's a couple of days back. Today is the 8th of December 2022, so just more than a week back, and this is about the money that was found, or the dollars that were stolen from the home of President Cyril Ramaphosa. Now, what is the relevance, or why is Liberty Fighters Network involved in this? Because most probably our court challenge, our other court challenge that has been ignored by the media, which we have circulated to them in September, at the end of September, which none of them were anyhow interested in publishing or to publish any article on that court case, and let me refer you to this one. It was issued on the 29th of September. It has been circulated to the media, and what is important here is that President of the Republic of South Africa is in fact the fourth respondent in that matter. His name is the fourth respondent. Now, what is this case all about, and why was it important for us to add him as a party? Well, strangely enough, people never knew that he, as the president, is still responsible for the Exchange Control Act of 1933. That was never changed because the very regulations, the exchange control regulations, which the South African Reserve Bank is now utilizing to investigate President Ramaphosa, is also the responsibility still of the president himself. It was never changed from the union and from the old apartheid regime to the new democracy. The old Exchange Control Act of 1933 was the responsibility of the then Governor General. And in terms of the Interpretation Act, the Governor General is now interpreted as the President, and the Parliament has never transferred the responsibilities of the President to any one of his ministers, especially in this case the Finance Minister. That was never ever done. So that made him responsible for the very regulations the South African Reserve Bank is using to investigate him for the Phala Phala incident. So let me just show you this further, that in terms of this Part B, that it be declared, this is what we are asking, that it be declared that the entire South African Reserve Bank Act 90 of 1989, or those sections as the court determined, be declared as unconstitutional and invalid, and then that it be declared that the entire Currency and Exchanges Act of 1933, Act number 9 of 1933, or those sections as the court determined, be declared as unconstitutional and invalid. And in this Part C that we've identified, we've specifically said that the President under the apartheid regime, actually appointed the South African Reserve Bank as the agent of the Treasury then to administer the exchange control regulations. But when the Constitution, the first Constitution of 1993 came into operation, the so-called interim Constitution, in that the South African Reserve Bank was actually made the central bank of South Africa and is independent from the state. Or not specifically independent from the state, but when you read the South African Reserve Bank Act itself, you will see that it's a juristic person. So it's and it's also described in terms of previous regulations or legislation that have since been repealed, making it in stealth a total independent creature that's not part of the South African government at all. And the exchange control regulations specifically say that the minister can only authorize someone from the Treasury itself to administer the exchange control regulations, and the South African Reserve Bank is not a member of the Treasury or member of the state. So according to us, they cannot administer the Exchange Control Act or regulations as such, and the president is still the one responsible for that very act under which those regulations have been promulgated, meaning that we've unfortunately put Cyril Ramaphosa on a very, very sensitive spot, because on the one hand we've notified him now. Apparently he was never aware of it, and strangely it was never ever mentioned in the Phala Phala report that this court case is going on. It has been totally silent on this court case and the possible repercussions. And I just want to show you this, that in the Phala Phala report, there's mention in paragraph 28 thereof that one of those institutions was the Financial Surveillance Department of the South African Reserve Bank, which administers the exchange control regulation and investigates contraventions of these regulations. There is the part that I have just confirmed. And then in paragraph 80, they also make mention that officials of the SARB and the South African Police Department appear in one of the committees of Parliament, yet the record of those proceedings has not been made available to us. And we know that the SARB has been investigating the matter around June 2022, yet we have not been furnished with the outcome of the investigation. The possible reason why we have not been furnished with the investigation outcome is because of this very court case that we are going have against the South African Reserve Bank, the Treasury, the Minister of Finance, and the President himself. And that was never mentioned, as I've said, in the Phala Phala report. Because the reality is that if we are successful with this case, and this is not planned, because we are there to take this case further for our members that we are representing in this matter, and coincidentally it has come out to this point because Liberty Fighters Network stay on the track, and where we happen to assist, for example, a Cyril Ramaphosa or Jacob Zuma or whoever on the sideline, that is purely because we are doing the right thing, not for them as such, but for the people of South Africa, which are ultimately the rulers of this land. And that concept has been totally ignored by the government and the judiciary and all these three pillars that our democracy is based on. They have always taken out of the equation that the people are the rulers of this country and not they. They are just pillars to support the people, but none of them are the rulers. And the outcome of this could be that it might be found that the exchange control regulations and the South African Reserve Bank Act itself could be found to be unconstitutional and invalid, meaning that the president did not do anything wrong, because the contravention, the so-called criminal contravention, was created in terms of the exchange control regulations, because he did not declare those monies. And if it's found to be invalid, constitutionally invalid, it means automatically that he has not committed any crime whatsoever, and that the entire report and the entire thing or procedures against him will then fall away. I've said this before, that I'm not a supporter of Cyril Ramaphosa at all. But just like we are doing with in the other matter that I've exposed earlier, we're doing the right thing. And the purpose of this application that we've lodged to the High Court, that is ongoing, and it's very, very, very volatile at this stage. We've done that for our members and for the people, because we've noted that the exchange control regulations have been tremendously abused by the South African Reserve Bank. In our particular matter, no investigation whatsoever. Over R1 million have been blocked by the South African Reserve Bank based on a decision that they took within less than 10 minutes. Of no evidence whatsoever. They kept the investigation going without any investigation whatsoever in that case for 3 years, and then they just issued a forfeiture order without any investigation, without any knowledge of the parties concerned. So the South African Reserve Bank effectively has stolen the money of our members, and I'm saying stolen because the South African Reserve Bank cannot do anything against me for defamation, blah, 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 blah. So that is exactly what they did. They have stolen the money. So people, yes, Liberty Fighters Network again is in the middle of the Phala Phala situation as well. Cyril Ramaphosa will be very happy if we succeed with this application of ours. So it will be very interesting to see how he, as the president, is going to approach this and how he's going to oppose this matter. He did enter his notice to oppose, but it's going to be interesting to see how he himself is going to handle this, because the outcome of it will most probably benefit him. And that was pure by coincidence, because of the fact that the South African Reserve Bank stole the monies of our people, of our members. People, I just wanted to give you this news as well. God bless and Godspeed until the next time.
Liberty Fighters Network.
Liberty Fighters Network.
Liberty Fighters Network.